Welcome back to another fun-filled show. I'm your host, T. is Blanchard, aka Free Blanche, aka Blanche Radamas, aka Blanchy Kruger. Today's title is A History for Victims, the Miseducation of the Bliggities, Part 2. I'm going to give folks a chance to come in. Let me change my filter, man. I done cut my heat on for the first time. Anyway, what's up, W Banks? Okay, give some folks some more time to come in. I can get started. What's up, Venus? What's up, Paul? So let me see where I want to start. Hold on. See where I want to start. So we about to go to Chicago, 1964, public housing. So this is Earlene, 1964. Earlene White is walking to her new home in Robert Taylor Homes, a public housing project on the south side of Chicago. Construction was completed in 1962, and the film you are about to see was made 2 years later. At the time, this was the largest public housing development in America with 28 high-rise buildings. By 1964, the apartments were in decline with perpetual broken elevators. The Mickey Cobras and Black Disciples gangs dominated the projects, and 45,000 and drug deals took place daily. 95% of the 27,000 residents were unemployed. 95% of the 27,000 residents were unemployed. These projects were built in 1962, and by 1964, they were a haven for gangs, for drugs, for violence, unemployment. In 2 years, the KKK didn't come in and do this. The government didn't come in and do this. The white folks didn't come in and do this. In 2 years, this was built in 1962, and in 2 years, we are talking about 27,000 residents unemployed, 95% of them unemployed. It was dominated by the Mickey Cobras and Black Disciple gangs, broken elevators, 45,000 in drug deals a day. All this happened in 2 years. The Ku Klux Klan didn't do it. The white nationalists didn't do it. The racists didn't do it. Donald Trump didn't do it. The government didn't do it. There was nobody to blame for what happened to Taylor Homes projects in 2 years. In 2 years. I told you all last video Top Perk said, Blanche, I was looking at one of your older videos where you're evolving like a grasshopper going to a Kung Fu master. But I'm gonna just say this, right? Black people lack faith. Remember when I played a video of Minister Farrakhan talking about how white folks believe they can do what God can do? What he was saying was that white people culturally have more faith. Black folks don't have any faith. Black folks don't believe in anything outside of themselves. They don't. This is why when they look at the world, they always see themselves as victims. They never involve God. The Bible says that God is the author and finisher of our faith. God is the author and finisher of our faith. That means that God gives us a measure of faith. And when we have faith, God is the finisher of that. Black folks don't believe that. Black folks believe in the government. Black folks believe in white people. Black folks believe in being able to dance, being able to fry chicken and fry fish. That's what black folks believe in. But when it comes to things of a spiritual matter, the things of God, black folks don't believe in. Now, black folks believe in all kind of witchcraft and voodoo. That stuff don't work. Black folks believe in everything that don't work. But when it comes to actual faith, let's continue. Let's continue. About 96% were African American, and the majority of the residents had a family member in prison. And about 96% of the residents were Black, and the majority of residents had a family member in prison. This is why I don't believe in charity, because this is what charity does. This is socialism. We're going to give these Black people a place to stay, and the premise was we're going to give them a place to stay so they can go out there and be productive. Sorry, y'all. Sorry, y'all. I gotta change my filter. I just kept my heat on. But anyway, so they built these projects, the largest projects in the country, and the thought was, we're going to build these projects, and these Bliggities are going to be able to focus on getting a job and being productive because their housing is taken care of. What did Black folks do? Black folks said, hold my Hennessy. And they say, not only are we not going to be productive, we're going to have a 96% unemployment rate. Not only are we not going to be productive, we're going to let the gangs run the projects. And see, the gangs can run the projects because the residents won't call the police. The gangs can run the projects because the residents won't call the police. Remember, no snitching. Excuse me, y'all. Tierra Barnes said, nowhere in the Bible does God say, give somebody a house so they can be productive. You see, we talk about America being a Christian nation, but it seems like everything America did was against Christianity. Everything America did was anti-Christian. The Bible says if a man doesn't work, he doesn't eat. So why are you creating a housing project for a group of able-bodied people? Why are you doing it? Oh, I'll tell you why. Because the propaganda says that Black folks are oppressed and they can't get ahead. Just for you to build the projects and they're worse off. Just for you to build these projects and they have a 96% unemployment rate. They're ran by gangs, drugs, crime, broken elevators in just 2 years. That's why I don't believe all the stories they tell. I don't believe it. I don't believe all these stories about they burnt y'all cities. I don't believe it. They didn't just run in there and burn them towns down. I don't believe it. Because what I'm seeing black folks do, Rosewood, and y'all love bringing up Rosewood and Black Wall Street, Tulsa, that must have been a miracle. Because in my lifetime, anytime I've seen a bunch of black folks living somewhere, it's never been good. Ever. Yes, Paul. God said, teach a man how to fish. Black folks said, man, forget learning how to fish. Just bring me the fish so I can fry it. Just bring me the fish so I can fry it. Let's continue.
Earlene White is a Chicago housewife, mother of 6 children. Before urban renewal, she lived in a slum. Now she inhabits a new world, a world of concrete and glass. It is clean and free of rats. Her new home has heat in the winter and rows of open galleries to catch the summer breeze. Like many other residents of Robert Taylor homes, Mrs. White knows that the project is, physically, a vast improvement over the slums. Yet, like other tenants, she feels that within the project's great high-rise buildings, she is struggling with a new enemy.
Anyone that is passing a high-rise project and looking in from the outside, it seems like a beautiful home, a clean home, and a lovely place to live in. But I live inside of a high-rise in Chicago, and I know the atmosphere that I am living in. There's so many people in the high-rise, and there are 10 families to a floor. There are 154 to 56 families to one building. To each family, there are from 2 to 10 children. You go out to get groceries, you come up on the elevator, you have to wait 10, 15, 20 minutes before you can get it. With this many people around, when the mornings you wake up, there's children up and down the gallery with the noise, knocking on your door, a couple of neighbors arguing on the gallery. At night when you go to bed, it's the same thing. You feel that it's too many families involved, too many faces that you see. You can't go in or out of the building unless you're looking into many faces. You can't go to the chute to empty your garbage unless there's a million faces in front of you. And I wonder, who are my children playing with? Who are their friends?
Now, the same thing we saw in on Tuesday in Mississippi with the people working on the cotton plantation, cotton fields. Again, you were in the slums, you went from the slums, and you went to the projects. The irony is the same people you lived in the slums with are now in the projects with you. So the folks that were your neighbors made it a slum. Now you're moving into the projects and it's becoming another slum. Except this time, you can't blame white people. See, the beauty of history, if you actually look at it, it'll tell you the truth. You see, you can blame white folks for the slums. You could even throw in the propaganda behind redlining. You can do all that. But you can't blame white folks for these projects. Because these projects were built state-of-the-art, high-rise buildings. I'm gonna say like the Jeffersons with a deluxe apartment in the sky. They built y'all what the Jeffersons had to pay for. When the Jeffersons moved on up, they gave it to y'all for free. And now she gets in there and she's complaining. So not only are black folks unfaithful, meaning they don't have any faith, they're also ungrateful. They're ungrateful and they're unfaithful. She's complaining about the projects but she was just in the slums 2 years ago. See, one thing you'll know is that you can't satisfy the Negro. They have an insatiable appetite for decadence. You cannot satisfy them. Now, she says she's seen 1 million faces. Now, you would have thought that when these folks got together in this projects, it would have been a utopia. They tell us when Black folks get together, magic happens. They tell us when Black folks put their mind to it, they can build spaceships and pyramids. But why is it in our lifetime we've never seen it? How come we've never seen all the greatness of Black people? In my neighborhood, the Black folks in my neighborhood, if it wasn't older people that owned their home, or in my immediate neighborhood, my few streets, few blocks, there was only 2 families with the dad in the house. Only 2 families. My boy Jay across the street and my boy TJ on the next street. Just 2 families. All the rest of the people was either single parent households or grandparents that were taking care of the grandchildren, something like that. But let's continue.
I wonder if I can raise my boys and girls here, and they can turn out to be the type of children and young men and ladies
Now you just
that I have always dreamed.
Hold on. Now look, hold on. Now look. Now look. Ain't a white person in sight. Now look.
My boys and girls here, and they
throwing trash off the roof. You know, Chuck said something in episode 3. He said that in the 1920s, I forgot the guy's name, but he said there was a guy. He said there was a guy, and he introduced basically the plight of the Negro. And he said that the guy said that Negroes didn't have a such thing as racial consciousness, meaning there wasn't this collective thought for Black folks to come together and rise up. It didn't exist. So that thought was introduced by a communist, because Black folks weren't even thinking like that. They were thinking about, taking care of their family. They weren't thinking about this racial, like we're Black and we're proud. All that stuff came from communists. And it's funny because if you think about it, if you look at Black people now, if left alone, what do they actually do? They pretty much just live their life. They pretty much, like, they don't have any kind of, that's why I don't really believe none of the tales. I don't believe Nat Turner. We already went over Harriet Tubman. I don't believe it. I don't. Because today, Black folks are galvanized by the media, by the Democrats. They're not galvanized. It's not organic. Black folks aren't organically protesting. They're not organically putting their fists in the air. They're not organically trying to rise up. That's not organic. That's all through manipulation and propaganda and programming. That's what I'm saying. If Black folks are left alone, they're just going to live their life. Now, I'm not saying they're going to be violent. They're going to live their life in decadence and violent, but you won't see the outward displays of, tearing up property and all that kind of stuff. You're not going to see all that. But back to what I was saying about this video. So you see these people throwing trash off the balcony. Now there's a trash chute on the floor. Every floor has a trash chute, but instead of getting out of the house and walking down to the trash chute, they're ready to just throw their trash over the balcony while the kids are downstairs playing. Not a white person in sight. Not a white person in sight, and Black folks are throwing trash on the ground in Taylor Homes projects that's only been up for 2 years.
They can turn out to be the type of children and young men and ladies that I have always dreamed and hoped and prayed for them to be. You can't hang your pictures like you want to. The walls are rough. You still can't paint them what you want to paint them. Someone would think that living in a high-rise building with its many family that is involved, that you wouldn't be lonely. But I feel living in a high-rise building like this, that you are very much lonely. It makes me feel as if this is not my home. This is only a place where I sleep and pay my rent. It's just like you're closed in a corner with no way out, nowhere to go.
Again, ma'am, so are you saying you preferred the slums? Are you saying the slums weren't that bad? Like, ma'am, what are you saying? I told you she had that vice, right? Remember I told you about the vices? Smoking cigarettes. I told you they have vices. Black people have vices. Smoking them cigarettes, drinking. She says she feels alone, but she has a husband with 6 children in the house. She says she feels alone, but she has a husband and 6 children in the house, and she feels alone. And still complaining about the project. Now, she said she paid the rent. Now, y'all know the rent in the projects back then, it wasn't that much money. We know that. How much was rent in the projects? Let me look this up. How much was rent in Taylor Homes projects in 1964? It doesn't specify, but it says it was very low. It said it was very low. Anyway, let's continue.
The chairman of the Housing Authority is Charles Swibel.
We at the Chicago Housing Authority have interpreted the rules and regulations in regard to public housing to mean that we are to provide safe, decent and sanitary housing, which means good housing, but not luxurious housing. Some of the individual complaints that I, as well as the people on the outside, have heard about the residents not being able to paint walls, not being able to hang pictures on the walls, are a slight over-exaggeration. We do give our tenants now a choice of 5 colors. This is an evolution. You must remember that these people...
I told you black people lie. This man just said they get 5 colors. I told you that black people lie. I told y'all this. It is a cultural byproduct because black people are trying to make white people look bad, so they have to lie. Imagine white people building an entire housing project and y'all destroy it in 2 years, and you still blame white people. All the gangs, the violence, the drugs, and this woman said, I can't paint the walls and hang a picture on the wall. I can't paint the walls and hang a picture on the wall. She lied.
have come out of slums. They have brought with them some of the slum-bred ideas, some of the slum-bred hostilities. In regard to hanging a picture on the wall, all we ask of them is that they notify the manager so we can give them the proper hook. We don't...
You heard this man just saying, they're not, listen. The stuff I'm telling y'all, It may not be true today, but if you keep living and you rewind this tape, everything I'm telling y'all is going to be true. If you keep living the stuff I'm telling you in all these videos, one day you're going to look back and say, Blanche said that. I'm telling you now, again, that black people lie. They don't, I don't say they lie. They don't know they lie. This woman said you have to notify the manager to get the proper hook. So what the woman is saying is, what she's really saying is, we don't want to have to get permission to do what we want to do. That's what she's saying. We don't want to follow the rules. We don't want to honor the authority. We want to be able to just paint the house how we want to paint it and put the nails in the wall and hang them raggedy pictures up. All they're going to do is hang up MLK and white Jesus. That's all they're going to do. Or like my grandparents' house, they had a big picture. It was like a velvet picture of MLK, a big old, like a velvet, felt like velvet, a big velvet picture of MLK. Then on the big TV in the den, it's in the den, they had on the big TV, it was one of my uncles who I never got to meet in his his prison photo. Then it was Elijah Muhammad. I think we might even had Muhammad Ali with my uncle. Anyway, but so the man told you get 5 colors that you can paint your house in, and you can hang your pictures up. So the woman lied.
Want to make it so comfortable and so ideal for them that they wish to remain in public housing. We are trying to get them upgraded, if you will, so that they can go out on the open market and find private housing. If I had a choice of living at Robert Taylor Homes or in a dilapidated shack, I would choose Robert Taylor Homes.
So you notice what he said. He said that the people came into the projects and they brought the slum bred ideas. What he's telling you is that there was a culture that was not established at Taylor Homes projects. That means when black people moved there, they brought the culture, the slum dog, non-millionaire culture. They brought the slum dog culture to Robert Taylor Homes, and then they turned the Robert Taylor Homes into a slum. Except now it's worse because now you confine to floors, you confine to units, and you have to interact with people because you got to get out the building and come in the building. So it was actually worse. So the only way this was going to work is if what they said about black folks was true, that black folks was kings and queens and gods and goddesses and the melanin and the carbon, and they got the God gene. If all that was true, they would have moved into Taylor Homes projects and it would have been the best residence in the country. It's not what happened. It became one of the worst. Drugs, violence, everything going on in Robert Taylor Homes projects.
When I visit my mother in what some people may call a slum area, I feel this is home. Not because it's my mother's home, but it's because I feel free. I've left behind me the noise. I left behind me the hundreds of children. I left behind me these stone walls closed in on you. When I go there, I can sit on the porch, or my kids can go in the yard and play. I can open a door and walk out and say, don't do this, or come inside and eat. These little small things is really what matters.
Now, I'm going to ask y'all a question. So you heard what she just said. She just said that the slums are better than the projects. Now, I want you to look at this house and tell me, is that a slum? Is that a slum, y'all? Is that a slum? Is that a slum? They out there having a good time. They on the porch, chilling, jump roping in the front yard. Is this a slum, y'all? So you mean to tell me she left the house with the front yard to go live in the projects? You got to make it make sense, y'all. You got to make it make. The woman just said she preferred the slums over the projects. So this should let you know this is not about racism. It's not about white people. This is Black people and Black culture. This is Black people with a lack of faith. And if you don't have any faith, you don't have any direction. Because what are you believing in and what are you believing for? The woman just said, I prefer the slums over the new project. And I guarantee the folks in the slums were so happy y'all left. Them people in the slums were so happy they built that project. They said, good. They going out of here, good. Her mama just smiling from ear to ear, happy. Let's continue.
We do want them to better themselves. That is the sole purpose of the public housing program. We want their morale to go up. We hope and pray that they can merely use public housing for an economic reason and that they will better themselves, get better jobs, make more money, and go into the private market. We are not in competition with the private market.
By the early 1990s, the buildings were nearly destroyed. Nearby streets were covered with litter, and the neighborhoods lacked any banks or grocery stores, so residents traveled far to buy basic food staples. 97% of the tenants were unemployed, so that means from 1964 to the 1990s, 30 years, the unemployment rate actually went up from 96% to 97%. In 1993, after a maintenance worker was beaten to death by gang members for allowing police access to a building where a gang meeting was taking place, it was decided to replace the buildings with low-rise buildings. So let's just go through this real quick, y'all, so we can just I can make this make sense. I'm gonna just try to make it make sense for you all. So the reason why there weren't any grocery stores in the neighborhood is because of the crime. So racism didn't keep the businesses out of the community. It was the crime committed by Black people. The unemployment rate was at 97%. So that means you have a bunch of residents around all day long. We're talking about probably 30 plus thousand people sitting around not working all day long. They're going to destroy. So that means all the neighboring streets were covered in trash. The buildings were almost destroyed. Then the maintenance man in 1993, a man doing his job got beat to death because he let the police in the building. If he didn't let him in the building, he would have got arrested. But he got beat to death. The maintenance man got beat to death, not by the KKK, not by the police, not by racism, not by white supremacy. The maintenance man got beat to death by Black gangs. So in 30 years, the decay of the Robert Taylor Homes projects has started spreading outside of those buildings. In just 30 years, it got that worse. In 30 years, they was killing the maintenance men. That's what happened. If you leave Black people to their own devices, like I told you, These folks weren't out there protesting for equal rights. These folks went out there rioting and looting. If you leave black people alone, this is what you're going to get. If you don't give them the propaganda, if you don't, this is what you're going to get. So then they destroy Robert Taylor homes and decide to replace them with low-rise buildings as if the height of the building is affecting the behavior. It's not the height of the building. It's the people. It's the culture. Like other similar projects, Robert Taylor Homes is considered one of the greatest public housing failures in American history. And it was a failure not because of white people. It was a failure because of black people. Because 97% of the residents were black. So if it failed because of black people. All black folks had to do was go into that building, pay that cheap rent, stack their money up, and leave. Go get a house. We talk about reparations, but the government gave you the biggest boost imaginable. They let you stay somewhere almost rent-free for years to get your money up to go buy a house. The guy even said the goal of it was to get the people to go out there and get a job in a house. That was the purpose of it. It should have been a constant cycle of people coming in and out, stacking their money, moving out, getting a house, coming in. It should have been a cycle. But the problem is, y'all would have ran into a problem, black people, with the immigrants. Because if they had that rotation going on, the immigrants would have came in and shut y'all out. Because they would have had pipelines from Mexico, pipelines from the Caribbean, pipelines from Africa, of families coming and moving in. They'd have been organized with it. It would have been one building for the Hispanics, one building for the Africans, one building for folks from the Caribbean, one building for folks from Europe. And I guarantee it would have never got destroyed. It would have been a model project for the world to look at. But it would have been filled with immigrants. It wouldn't have been filled with y'all Bliggities. It would have been filled with immigrants. Talking about reparations. Please, please, please spare me reparation talk. Please. People done gave y'all the biggest boost imaginable. Y'all talking about we can't paint the wall and hang pictures up, which is a lie. Let's continue. Am I on the right one? Oh, this is it. Okay.
To many Americans, the welfare rolls are saturated with lazy people who would rather sit back and take it easy while hard-working taxpayers foot the bill. To those who believe in the great American dream that every man can pull himself up by his own bootstraps, the solution to the welfare problem is primarily a matter of taking people off the welfare rolls and putting them on the payrolls. What is fact? What is myth? Who are these people on welfare? And what changes are needed in our welfare system?
I don't want welfare to support me. I want welfare to find a job for me, a job where I can work and make a living on my own.
This man just said, listen, Hispanics, y'all next. Dear Hispanics, y'all next. Y'all about to get y'all head knocked off because y'all ain't got good sense either. This man just said, I don't want the welfare to support me. I just want them to go out there and give me a job. This man just said, I don't want welfare to support me. I just want the welfare to go out there and give me a job. Or Hispanics, y'all are next. Y'all are next. Listen, man, I ain't asking for no money. Just go in there and get me 4 beers and 2 hamburgers. It's just crazy. Listen, man, I don't want no money. Just go in there and spend your money and get me something. This is crazy. I don't know what kind of reverse psychology he just pulled. I don't want welfare to support me. I just want welfare to go out there and get me a job. Boy, that's crazy. That is some reverse psychology if I ain't ever seen it before in my life. That's that El Salvadorian game he running.
This is the public hearing held in March of this year in Fresno, California, the richest agricultural county in the world.
I got some family in Fresno. My family owns a whole bunch of, well, really they own a vineyard, just acres and acres, you know, grapes, my family, on my dad's side.
Are you employed?
No, I'm not.
When were you last employed?
It was in 1958.
What brought
1958.
your work to an end?
Hold on, man. Y'all told me white folks had it easy. Y'all told me that white folks had it easy. This video is from 1970. Y'all told me that white folks had it gravy. It was easy. This man said he ain't worked since 1958 and it's 1970. He ain't worked for 12 years. He needs to be put in jail. Tierra, I don't even think they make wine, Tierra. I think they just sell the grapes. They don't make the wine. I think they just sell the grapes. This man just said he hasn't worked since 1958 and it's 1970. He hasn't worked in 12 years. He needs to be in prison.
What brought your work to an end?
I become disabled. In 1954, I fell off a ladder working out on the ranch.
I go into debt in wintertime and work. My wife and I work in summertime to pay off those debts, and then the cycle just over and over. Hard times come again, we go in debt again, and so on. Same thing. It's just a cycle. If I ever applied for welfare in my whole lifetime, must have been about twice or 3 times in my lifetime that I remember, and that was because I really had to.
In other words, it goes against your grain to take welfare?
No, I don't like that. I don't like to go before the welfare department and beg for food. No, sir, I never did like that. I've had all the chance in the world to become a #1 beggar, but we don't do that.
What makes you feel like you're begging when you go in there?
Look, lady, I don't know if you ever begged for food yet or not, but I'm going to tell you. When you go to the welfare department, these people are ready for you. In fact, they're hostile.
Why do they discriminate us by saying the Mexicans are getting welfare, the poor people is getting welfare? Why don't they turn around and say the grower is getting welfare? And he is getting it on a bigger basis. Because this son of a gun, year after year, will be getting millions of dollars out of the government because they didn't work the land or this or that. Here, Mr. So-and-so, here's so many millions. But that's called something different. That doesn't call welfare, even if that's the real word for that. But no, they rather discriminate us than the Mr. Grower.
Last year.
So What he's talking about is government subsidies for farmers. That's what he's talking about. He's talking about the government, subsidizing these farms. And technically it is still a part of socialism. It is. It's still a part of socialism. It's still under the same umbrella, federal government giving out money. Yeah, it's still part of the same thing. So he is right. It's still welfare. It is. Because what it does is it expands the government. So now the government has people on the welfare payroll and the farmers. It just keeps expanding. It's just what Chad says. Government seeks to expand itself. If government was an organism, it seeks to just expand itself and keep growing. Kind of like the blob. Yes, Denise, this is real. This is real.
Farmers in this area were subsidized in excess of 60 million so they wouldn't plant something. They received also, God knows how much, for technological studies at the University of California, Santa Barbara, at Davis, and so on and so forth, to create machineries to put these people out of a job.
The American people voice little objection to their tax dollars being used for business subsidies, but cry out loudly against welfare grants. Could the reason be that welfare receives an imbalance of the attention and publicity? Or is there a basic resentment against the poor? Can it be that many hard-working Americans resent the fact that welfare recipients seem to be getting something for nothing?
That's exactly what people think. Because people see people on welfare not working. See, it would be different if when y'all were on welfare and not working and y'all look pitiful. Like if y'all walked around like this, please, we just try to make it. I just want to eat. I just want my children to go to school and not be hungry. Like if y'all walked around like that, then folks would feel sympathetic. But y'all don't walk around like that. Y'all walk around looking clean, nice clothes, talking crazy, smoking cigarettes, drinking, partying, living a great life. You make people hate you. You make people hate you. They resent you. I know hate is a strong word, but people resent you because they got to get up and go to work and they look at you and you partying all night long. But then get in front of the camera talking about you can't find a job.
People do have to stand in lines. We do get very busy. We do have long federal, state, and county forms to fill out, which ask every question from when you last clipped your toenails on up. This is unfortunate.
In some states, a single aged person can receive a larger grant than an unemployed mother with 3 children. And in no state is assistance given to the working poor.
We don't have anything. We work out on a farm. I have to pay income tax. I have to miss meal to pay that.
I am a human being as well as the next person. I like to be treated as a human being. I like to be talked to as a human being. And I don't know very many people that tries to get on the welfare too. That's usually the last resort. If you get the feeling that your interviewer is getting the money out of his pocket to hand you, and you know about just how you'd feel about giving me $35, $40 a month out of your own pocket, your own earnings, you'd be hesitant about it, and it seems that that's the way they seem to do it.
But under the law, you are just as much entitled, under certain circumstances, to this money as they are to their salary. There's no difference, and people should understand that.
Yeah.
You heard what this man just said. Listen to y'all. Let me tell y'all something. America is cooked. America is cooked. When they put that Statue of Liberty up, that was an idolatry symbol of communism. Statue of Liberty poem by Emma Lazarus, I guess Lazarus. Not like the brazen giant of Greek fame, with conquering limbs astride from land to land. Here at our sea washed, sunset gates shall stand. A mighty woman with a torch, whose flame is the imprisoned lightning and her name. Mother of exiles, from her beacon hand glows worldwide welcome, her mild eyes command. The air-bridged harbor that twin cities frame, keep ancient lands your storied pomp, cries she. With silent lips, give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. The wretched refuse of your teeming shore, send these, the homeless, tempt tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. That was in 1883. So what was done there was a symbol, an idol, a false idol of a woman, probably linked to some Astaroth or some kind of female goddess, welcoming the entire world to come to America. Socialism, which is really communism. So America was doomed at least since 1883 when they built that statue. Think about America. All those wars, all that fighting, all that bloodshed, just to a few years after slavery, everybody come on in. It's like they ended slavery and said, everybody come on in now. America's cooked. America is cooked, man. That Statue of Liberty is a pagan symbol. It's not a symbol of hope. It's a symbol of what we have today. Multiculturalism, socialism, communism, wokeism, liberals, everybody claiming to love and want to help the disenfranchised, when in actuality, God gives every man a measure of faith. Nobody's disenfranchised. Nobody's a victim. Let's continue, man. Hold on, back to what I was saying real quick. This man just said that this woman has every right to this taxpayer money, just like a person that worked for the money. He said, you are entitled to this taxpayer welfare money, just like the person working at a job and getting a salary. I'm going to play it again. Y'all may have missed it. I'm going to play it again. Listen to what he said.
Much entitled, under certain circumstances, to this money as they are to their salary. There's no difference, and people should understand that.
Yeah, Your Honor, I understand you, but I don't think you understand me. We understand that, and we feel...
And people should understand certain circumstances, to this money as they are to their salary. There's no difference, and people should understand that.
Yeah, Your Honor, I understand you, But I don't think you understand me. We understand that, and we feel that way about it. But it seems as though to me, maybe I'm wrong, it would be better, maybe we should have a commission with them. I mean, like you people are with us, they should have a commission to explain it to them that the money don't come out of their pocket. Now, we understand you. I do.
Understand.
So that is the problem. But thank you so much for trying.
In the 1964 presidential campaign, Senator Goldwater had a particularly rousing rally in Odessa, Texas, an arid area noted for its rich petroleum deposits and conservative politics. Asked how he felt the evening had gone, Goldwater said, "Great, these are my kind of people. They came out here, they worked hard, and they struck oil." The senator was not joking. He reflected the time-honored American tradition which has enshrined hard work as a noble exercise producing indubitably the rewards of success.
So I don't know what they're talking about, but this is taxpayer money. I don't know why he lied to that woman like that. It is taxpayer. Where the money coming from? Where, if the money doesn't come from taxpayers, then where's the money come from? Where's the money? If the money isn't coming from taxpayers, then how's the government generating this money? Where's that money coming from? Let us know. I don't know why he told her that. I like Goldwater, because those are my kind of people too, Goldwater. Going somewhere and striking oil, those are my kind of people too.
The trouble is that not every conscientious toiler is fortunate enough to strike oil. Millions have labored a lifetime with little more to show for it than a mortgage and a heart attack. Gradually, American society is beginning to concede that some jobs can be demeaning and that luck and ruthlessness can have a lot to do with success. Gradually...
You hear this? Look what he just did right there. He just said that some jobs are demeaning. So in other words, there are certain jobs that shouldn't be done. Because what job are you talking about? What job is demeaning, sir? Oh, I get it. Jobs demeaning for people that you consider disenfranchised. Jobs demeaning for Black people, Hispanics, immigrants, Asians. Is that what you mean? You mean jobs that are demeaning for the people that you think are the special children. Then he says that you got to be, people are successful because a lot of ruthlessness and being cutthroat. That's a knock against capitalism. It's 1970 now. That's why I said America is cooked. Because we can't even go back and even look and see how this stuff has literally infiltrated our entire society. Most people wake up identifying with the victim. They do. I don't.
We are beginning to realize that people are not always to blame for their own misfortunes, that a man is not necessarily a sinner just because he is unemployed. Plainly, society has an obligation to the poor that goes beyond charity. Clearly, welfare, as now operated, is not the answer. But unsurprisingly, President Nixon is finding performance harder than his campaign promise to get people off welfare rolls and onto payrolls. The harsh fact is that countless welfare cases are simply not salvageable. Much of this is due to past neglect, seated in the ridiculous American dream fantasy that everybody can make it to the top if he'll only try.
Now, what this man is doing is giving you a wonderful propaganda piece. But when at the end of the day, we've already established, listen to what he said. He said basically that everyone that put forth a valiant effort is not going to make it. And notice how he said, make it to the top. What is the top? This is a very propagandized communist speech he's giving right here. What is make it to the top? You mean to be on the same level as someone that struck oil in Texas? Like, what does it mean to be at the top? He didn't say live a normal life. He didn't say live a happy life. He said be on the top. It's the top for a reason. If everybody's at the top, it would be called the bottom. If everybody was at the top, it would be called the bottom. You heard this man just said? He basically just said that everybody that puts forth the valiant effort in this job market is not going to make it. And then he said that there are many cases on welfare that are unsalvageable. What does that mean? That you can't work ever again in life? Like, what does it mean if you're unsalvageable? What does that mean? How is a person unsalvageable? What is that? Tell me what that looks like. What causes a person to be unsalvageable? I'll tell you, they're not going to get off welfare. They're not going to lead a project. You know why? Because they don't want to. They don't want to. He's trying to suggest the system is just flawed and corrupt. Well, every system has flaws. But the system being flawed isn't why people are struggling and suffering, though. That's not why. People are struggling and suffering because they don't have any faith. People are struggling and suffering because they don't have any faith. I want y'all to pray tonight. I'm going to pray it too. I want y'all to pray tonight for God to give you another way to make some more money. Whether it be an invention, an idea, I don't know. But we should have multiple streams of income. We do. We should be gainfully employed. We should. The last thing we should be worrying about, is money. As children of God, as believers. We should not be worried about money. We should have so many ideas coming to us. Our cup should be running over. What this man is saying is pure propaganda. Because what he's saying is not your fault. It's the system's fault. The reason why you don't want to work is because the system. The reason why you aren't ambitious is because the system. The reason why you aren't a millionaire is because of the system. It's the system's fault. It's not your fault. It's the system's fault.
The idea is not to rob the old to reimburse the young. Millions of senior citizens are having it rough enough as it is. But a more equitable balance needs to be struck. It's time this civilized nation, so-called, checked its own mental retardation in its savage handling of the plight of the poor.
Now, they said the savage I'm going to play this one next. I'm going to play that one next. Not today, though. Not today. Let's continue. Now, everybody in this video said this black man was uncomfortable. Sorry about that. Everybody said this black man was very uncomfortable in this video. I'll let y'all be the judge. In other words, these white men, had him under duress. They were bullying him. This is what everybody got from this video. Let's see what happens.
If you just don't understand the connection that we have with the colored people. In other words, we work with them, and they work with us. And we're not going to take him and push him off somewhere just because we could do it.
You tell these people that's what I've been telling them right here. Had we been your friends for years?
Yes, sir. Sure.
Had we worked more of them than anybody in this country?
Yes, sir. Sure have.
Right.
If you got hungry, we give you something to eat, don't we, Bill?
Yes, sir.
And his name is Billy Weatherly. Billy Weatherly, that's right.
No relation now, but these are Weatherly, right?
How about it, Bill?
Yes, sir.
Proud of that name, Mr. Bill.
I expect that name came down
Proud
from
of that
slavery
name,
time.
Mr. Bill.
Yes, sir.
Billy Weatherly.
Yes,
I think
sir.
everybody up there know that Weatherly.
Yes, sir.
How many people Bill, believe it is here in Pine Hill tonight at 12 o'clock you could go ask them for help, they wouldn't help you.
I am, but what?
Bill, if you got in trouble, who'd you go to, the white or the black? Tell the truth now. That's the best word, Dad. Bill, put them on the spot, because there ain't no color folk in it. You don't want him bad right by himself. But is there anybody here that wouldn't help you, Billy?
No.
We have always got along fine with the niggers. We never mistreated them. And there's no complaints. And they are all happy. All right.
What y'all think? What y'all think? Was he being abused? What y'all think? What y'all think? Was they bullying him? What y'all think? What y'all think? Was he being terrorized? What y'all think? Oh my goodness. Let me continue. Let me continue.
All colored can get ahead if you're willing to pay the price. Yes, sir. The price is willing to do out a lot of things you think you got to have and work like the dickens. How long you been working with these people?
Let me see. I don't know so exactly, but it's been mighty 20 years, I mean.
Good folks, ain't they, Bill?
Yes.
Stay sick a long time, they put you on a job that you could stay on this.
Yes, sir.
Stand for a cigarette.
Yes.
Did I treat you and your dad and your brother at all when you lived with me over there? Did I treat you right?
Yes, sir.
I went more than halfway with you, didn't I?
Sure did. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think I did, too.
Yes, sir.
He broke a bottle over her head and then held it to her neck.
What y'all think? What y'all think? Y'all think he was what y'all think? He was being bullied? Anthony said yes. Paul said he's working like his bosses. They look a little creepy. Well, I mean, they did look creepy. I mean, I ain't gonna lie. What y'all think? She said, Denise said a bunch of giggling. Louis said it seemed okay. So, I mean, I think what they were doing was they were trying to show they weren't racist. So they were trying to say, tell these people how we've been treating you. So they kind of put him on the spot. I think he was more nervous than he was. Like, it's just like they were all questioning him, asking him questions. He was kind of like nervous, maybe even camera shy. But I think they were trying to prove they weren't racist. Because you gotta understand that the South had a bad reputation after the Civil War, probably even before it too. But they were just all racist and just evil and killing black people. So like nobody wants that stigma. And so they were trying to get that stigma off of them. And so they had this guy, look, we're not racist. They got a guy right here we work with. And you know, it was just, I don't know. That's my take from it. I could be wrong. Let's continue.
Mississippi is still a very rough place. You know, people is not just walking up like they used to do in the past, walking out, you know, shooting a man down or getting maybe 200 or 300 people carrying you out and lynching you, but it's in a more settled way. You know, they can let you starve to death, not give you jobs. These are some of the things that's happening right now in Mississippi. See, Mississippi is not actually Mississippi's problem. Mississippi is America's problem. Because if America wanted to do something about what has been going on in Mississippi, it could have stopped by now. It wouldn't have been in the past few years between 40 and 50 churches bombed and burned. You see, and this lead me to say, you know, all of the burning and bombing that was done to us and the houses, nobody never said too much about that, and nothing was done. But let something be burned, you know, by a black man, and then, my God, you know, you see, the flag is drenched with our blood. Because, you see, so many of our ancestors was killed because we have never accepted slavery. We had to live on it, but we've never wanted it. So we know that this flag is drenched with our blood. So what the young people are saying now, give us a chance to be young men, respected as a man. As we know, this country was built on the black backs of black people across this country. And if we don't have it, you ain't gonna have it either, because we gonna tear it up. That's what they saying. And people ought to understand that. I don't see why they don't understand that.
You listen to her now. This is, I think, Mary Lou Hamer. I think. You listen to her now. Stone cold communist. And what's funny is, this is what makes the communists very effective. They're able to get all types of personalities. We saw the guy that was narrating the welfare documentary. Think about it. The guy narrating the welfare documentary and her right here, they're both communists, but they look totally different. The guy on the documentary is polished. He's white. She's a black woman. Where she is, it looks like it's very hot. Her hair ain't combed, goes in her mouth. Like, they look so different, but they're really saying the same thing. That's what makes the communist, the messaging so powerful, because you can't really pinpoint who the communists are. They can be an artist, an athlete, a professor, a teacher, a playwright, police officer. Like, the communists can literally be everybody. Kind of like Hydra with Captain America.
They know what they've done to us all across this country.
This was in 1968 right here, 1968.
They know what they've done to us. This country is desperately sick. and man is on the critical list. I really don't know where we go from here.
You know, I found out there was a guy, I forgot his name, but there was a guy, I found out that the term white power actually was in response to the term black power. So black power actually came first. What's the guy's name? He was what's the guy's name? He was killed. Let me see. Hold on. What's the guy's name? George Lincoln Rockwell. George Lincoln Rockwell. I couldn't believe that the term white power was in response to black power. I never knew that black power came first. Isn't that ironic that white power seemed racist, but it was actually a response to black power? It's crazy. I'm looking for it right here. I'm looking for it right here. Oh, here it goes. Despite these failures, these recruitment attempts did bring in 1965 one significant member of the party, William Luther Pierce, who became one of Rockwell's closest advisors. In the spring of 1966, the party began publication of several pamphlets and books, including National Socialist World, edited by Pierce. In the summer of 1966, Rockwell led a counter-demonstration against King's attempt to bring an end to de facto segregation in the white Chicago suburb of Cicero, Illinois. In 1966, in reaction to the popularity of the slogan Black Power, coined by Stokely Carmichael, Rockwell altered the phrase and coined the term white power as a counter slogan. So white power came about in 1966. Black power had been around. So white power was in response to black powers, which is crazy. It's crazy. But let's continue. I drank that smoothie before I started doing this live. I shouldn't have. It's something about ice. Where is my... Here we go. Here we go.
And why do some black women want to be like white women?
I think it depends how you were raised, where you were raised, what area you were raised in. I think, like for me personally, growing up, I had eras where it was like, I wished I could be white because I was surrounded by a whole bunch of white people. And I didn't have the confidence I needed, like in myself as a black woman, but I was very lucky with the family I have, where I was able to like kick that mentality.
Okay.
But I think some people just get stuck in it, and I think it can be hard. I think also societal pressures, like they don't want us to succeed, so it's like, why would you want to be us? But it's like, once you can figure out that like we are the superior, it's like, why wouldn't you want to be us?
So black women.
So my question is for everybody black that's listening or watching, tell me who specifically doesn't want you all to succeed? Like, can you give me like names and address so I can go there and get them? Like, who specifically doesn't want you all to succeed? This young lady said that she wanted to be white because she was surrounded by white people. If you were surrounded by Indians, you'd want to be Indian. If you were surrounded by Africans, you want to be like the crazy thing is they just exclude humanity and human nature out of the equation and say because you're around white, you want to be white. That's ridiculous. You want to be like who you are around. You want to be like who you are around. So if you're around a whole bunch of one group, you're going to want to naturally be like that group. That's just common. This is what human nature is. You want to fit into a people group. But somehow, some way, she wants to condemn white people for that. And then after that says they don't want us to succeed. My question is, who is the they that doesn't want you to succeed? Who is it? Who's this they? Get specific.
Women are superior to other races.
It's like, why wouldn't you want to be us?
So black women are superior to other races.
Well, I think so. I'm superior.
But so, okay, black women are superior, but they wear white and Asian women's hair. How does that make any sense?
Black women are superior, but they wear white women's hair. Like, it doesn't even make any sense. And I'm glad he ended it on that note. Black women are superior, but they don't want to wear their natural hair. Let's continue. You want to see black excellence? Here you go right here. That was the most oddest and weirdest and cringiest fraternity lines I ever seen. This is what black folks want to do. This is what black folks, they want to be seen. Just all of them just look awkward. Just a ragtag bunch of beta black men, just some of them loose in the caboose. None of them work out. Just horrible. No swag. It's just, I don't know what this is. When I was in college, it's a fraternity dudes was in shape. They worked out. These cats got guts and they looking effeminate. They got YNs strolling with them. They didn't let the YNs in the fraternity. It's just this is bad. This is bad. Just pants falling down. All that marching y'all did, all that stuff y'all did, and this is what y'all end up doing. Somebody said Planet of the Apes. That's funny. I don't know why this is moving so slow.
The facts and judge the purpose and technique by the facts.
But when you want the facts about live political battle, don't come to a campaign manager.
I might do it at that. But I will also go and see your opposition.
Well, that's all right. Whenever you're tracking down propaganda, get as many different points of view as you can.
Do you know something?
What?
I think that it might be interesting to make a really serious study of propaganda.
I find it interesting, and there's plenty to study. Here I have just a few of the many books on the subject. You can read them. You can keep your eyes and ears open for little bits of propaganda. And, of course, you can study whole propaganda campaigns. Here are a few on which I've been gathering material. Hitler and Nazi Germany had a campaign of propaganda that ran over many years. Then there's a wealth of propaganda to study on the subject of Russia and communism. There's propaganda to study in our own American elections, national as well as local, and in many of the major issues on which elections often hinge.
Well, if I don't learn about propaganda, it won't be because there's no way to study it.
That's right, Chuck. Remember the techniques of propaganda, and use the procedure we out is a powerful force. So powerful that your study of propaganda is important not only to you, but to me, and to the world.
This was a 1948 film about propaganda. It was made for high school students, trying to help them differentiate the propaganda from the honest media reporting. It's just funny how they were trying to teach about these things, and now that's all you see is propaganda. That's all you see now is propaganda. They would never teach it now because everybody uses propaganda. That's why they would never teach it now, because Democrats use it, Republicans use it, Israel uses it, Palestine uses it, Russia uses it, Ukraine uses it, the globalists use it, governments use it. Like, everybody uses propaganda. So you can't even teach it now because you spotted a mile away. Yeah, that's what I heard. Obama made it legal for it to be used against the American people. But let's continue. Speaking of Obama,
and I think in a way, for a country like Britain, whose future has got to be as a nation of global citizens.
not that one. I'm sorry.
Y'all might be too young to remember this.
We've had 5 million undocumented workers come over the borders since George Bush took office. It has become an extraordinary problem. And the reason the American people are concerned is because they are seeing their own economic position slip away. And oftentimes, employers are exploiting these undocumented workers. They're not paying the minimum wage. They're not observing worker safety laws. As president, I will make sure that we finally have the kind of border security that we need.
Hey, look, you've broken the law. You didn't come here the way you were supposed to. So this is not going to be a free ride. What's going to happen is you are going to learn English. You are going to go to the back of the line so that you don't get ahead of somebody who was in Mexico City applying legally.
If you're a criminal, you'll be deported. If you plan to enter the U.S. illegally, your chances of getting caught and sent back just went up. The actions I'm taking are not only lawful, they're the kinds of actions taken by every single Republican president and every single Democratic president for the past half century.
I don't believe in gay marriage. I don't think it should be called marriage, but I think that it is a legal right that they should have that is recognized by the state.
Do you support gay marriage?
No. Barack Obama nor I support redefining from a civil side what constitutes marriage.
I think we got to have tough conditions. Tell people to come out of the shadows. If they've committed a crime, deport them. No questions asked. They're gone. If they've been working and are law-abiding, we should say, here are the conditions for you staying. You have to pay a stiff fine because you came here illegally. You have to pay back taxes, and you have to try to learn English, and you have to wait in line.
Do not want to do anything to encourage more illegal immigration into this country.
The fact that these people can be this egregious to do a total 180 on their stance and nobody called them out. This is why I say America's cooked. Like Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, and Joe Biden should have no credibility. None. Like to be this, like to have a stance where you say, I don't believe in eating meat. And then a few years later, you open up a barbecue. Like, it's just questions have to be answered. What made you change your stance?
We know now that too many people come in for medical care as it is. We certainly don't want them having the same benefits that American citizens are entitled to have.
This was all okay until Trump said it. So tell me, what's changed? The fact that a white man said it instead of a white woman or a black man? Because when they said it, it was brave. But when he says it, he's a fascist, a dictator. It's offensive. It's racist. It's problematic. It's prejudice. Suddenly, everyone's outraged. So you tell me.
It's crazy. Thank you, Anthony Lebrakiak, for the super sticker. Thank you again, Mr. Lebrakiak 777. Charles, I believe African slaves were sold to come here and work in exchange for houses and land and food and health care. Slavery wasn't what they told us. Clearly it wasn't. Thank you, Charles. Clearly it wasn't what they told us. It was not. I don't believe anything about slavery. I don't, because I just don't believe it. I don't. You can't convince me that I'm going to spend all this money on a slave. They come to me, they're malnourished, they're sick, they're on their last leg. Then I got to pay some more money to nurse them back to health. Then when I get mad at them, I'm going to beat them almost to death, where they got to take off more time and they can't work. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. And I think the problem with the slavery narrative is they say chattel slavery, so your subconscious mind thinks that black people are like animals. So they say things like breeding farms and all of this stuff. And in actuality, human beings, it doesn't make sense to have a breeding farm, because human beings, it takes them 9 months to have a child. How feasible is to have a breeding farm? Like, it doesn't make any, like, you got to take care of the women while they're pregnant. Then they got to have the baby, and somebody has to nurse that baby. Think about the time period it takes when a woman has a slave and how much work the mother can actually do, because she's going to be pregnant for 9 months. Let's say she can work up until, let's say, 6 months, 7 months. Then she has to stop working. She has to have the baby. She has to recover. Then she has to take care of the baby that's a newborn. We're talking about she's going to miss how many years of work, because the child can't go to the field and work at 1 year old. It doesn't make any, it just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't. Listen, you all. And on top of that, uncommon favor, there's no slave ships. They don't have any slave ships. It just doesn't make any sense. You mean to tell me y'all don't have one intact slave ship? You said you had 50,000 of them, but you don't have one? Not one? When y'all find a slave ship, find those color-only signs as well, and whites-only signs. For some reason, we can't find them either. For some reason, we can't find the whites-only, color-only signs nowhere. I've been to many antique shops and I've never seen them. Where are all the signs? Where's all the signage for whites only, colors only, and where are the slave ships? Where is it? All those slave ships, they don't have one slave ship intact. They only got 5 on record. It's crazy. All these whites only, color only signs, but you go into any antique shop in the South, you won't find any of them. It's supposed to be hundreds of thousands of those signs everywhere. Whites only, color only. Those signs should be everywhere. You don't see any of them. And it was hundreds of thousands of them on every building, every bathroom, every water fountain. I just don't believe it. I don't believe it. But listen, y'all, I love y'all. And I will see you all on, maybe not Saturday. Yeah, I'll see y'all on Saturday. Yeah, Saturday. I'll see y'all on Saturday. Listen, I love y'all. Have a good night.